Hello and welcome to everyone that is joining live. And if you're on the recording, welcome to you as well. Today we are going to share what is new in Seesaw 7.6 in the Creative Tool Improvements. This is our Seesaw Wednesday learning session from March 3rd, 2021. Thank you all for joining us today. So what are we going to look at today? Our first improvement, and I've been teasing this a little bit along, is that you can add that the new feature is talking about voice. And their new improvement is that you can add voice to anything on the creative canvas. And because we are Seesaw for Schools customers here at Richland, and if you are joining us from the River Valley School District, you can have up to 20 voice recordings per page. This is game changing in my mind because you have all these options, and instead of just having one recording where you might have to say the directions to everything, you can put recordings on every single object for the students to listen to. And not only listen to once, but they maybe have to listen to again. What is the power of that? I'm just going to skip ahead just a little bit here. But why would you want to add voice or audio? Because adding voice and audio adds additional scaffolding for emerging readers and language learners. So you could even add, even if you had several objects on the screen, you could add a Spanish version and an English version if you wanted to. This is a great way to support that asynchronous learning so that students can be able to listen to the recordings multiple times and maybe have shorter recordings instead of having one full one there. And this is a great way for you to be able to share music and podcast creations of your own, or the students can. Now, students and teachers can upload audio files to their Creative Canvas. So the files that they can upload also can be done as a caption. So if you are doing that as well, if you add a caption at the bottom, you can add that audio file. And MP3, M4A, and WAV files are supported. And I'm going to go through a demonstration on this. I also want to make sure that you note that there is an activity shortcut icon now for voice as well, for adding that audio file. It is called the voice : and I will demonstrate that. Okay, so we talked about that. A couple FAQs behind voice and audio. What are the limits? We want to make sure that you know the limits on what's going on with the voice and the audios. For Seesaw customers, Seesaw for Schools customers, so we can have 20 recordings per page, and then you can have 20 pages. Do the math. You could have up to 400 voice recordings per activity or per submission. What are those file types again? MP3, WAV, M4A. If you use the recording function inside of Seesaw, it's limited to 5 minutes per recording for your voice. If you choose to upload a recording, the file size maximum is 250 megabytes. And I have some more clues about that so that you know about what file size is all about. One thing I wish it would have, but it's just the limitations of the devices that we are all using everywhere. That's not just for the Richland and River Valley school districts. A lot of people always ask, can you have audio playing and be able to have the student recording at the same time? Especially like maybe for music teachers, they could have like a background track and the kids singing along to it. No, that is just not there. Students can listen to something and then they could record. If they had a second device, they could have the second device playing and recording on another device. But that gets into a whole thing. We don't need to have 2 devices per students too. So just know that is not a limitation on anything that we are doing as schools. It's just the limitations of the devices themselves. You cannot record and be able to play that back at the same time inside of Seesaw. So it's just a limitation that way. Okay, so when you're talking about bringing in recordings, remember that you said you could record right inside of Seesaw. And remember, I will be demonstrating all this. I just want to kind of go over it all and then demonstrate it all. That you can do Seesaw recordings right inside of Seesaw, but you can also upload audio files. How interesting. So how could you do that? One way you can do that is using something called the online voice recorder. So if you need an audio recording longer than 5 minutes, this is what you could do. This is the simplest, easiest voice recorder out there. Let me show you how it works. You're going to get a link to this slide deck too, so you will have all these links, so don't worry about that. All right, so if I go to this online voice recorder here and let it load, literally, it could not be any easier. It shows you right there. It says, click the button to start recording. Okay, so we'll click the button to start recording. 7 years ago, our forefathers. Okay, that's all I know. Now it shows my voice recording there, and I can even trim it really quick on the edges. So if I wanted to kind of shorten it up a little bit. And then I can save that file. Now I'm on a PC right now, and that's simply saved to my downloads there. And if I hover over that, it might be kind of hard to see, but it renamed it. It just named it online voice recording.mp3. And MP3 is one of the file types that is allowed in Seesaw. How long can you record on this? I think you could record up to 30 minutes. Would you really want to record up to 30 minutes? I don't know. That's an awful long time to listen to something when you're listening to it. I don't know if when I'm listening to a podcast, I like to keep it around the 10-minute mark. You know, you could do installments of it. But if you need longer, this is a way to record longer than 5 minutes using something completely for free. You don't have to sign in. You just hit record and you get an MP3 of it. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is if you have an iPad or an iPhone, you can use the baked-in app called Voice Memos. Voice Memos has been around on iOS devices forever. And you can save those voice memos to your Files app, and I'm going to show you here how to do that, and then upload to Seesaw. Now, this is not exact, but it's approximately half a megabyte. How is that? Something like half a megabyte for every minute or something like that. I can't remember what the math on it is, but I did do the math beforehand. So you could record up to 45 minutes using voice memos, and that would be at the 250 megabyte limit. Because remember we talked about here on this page, sorry, I went one page too far. It says 250 megabyte max file size for upload files, which is the same as video. But you can fit a whole lot more information in an audio file than you can in a video file. Like I said, with an audio recording on your voice memo on your iPad, you could record up to 45 minutes. What does that look like? Okay, here we go. I'm going to bring up my iPad screen so that you can see that. And I am simply going to start a new recording. You can see that I just did something earlier here. So I'm going to start a new one by pressing the red button in the lower left-hand corner. Hello everyone, this is a new recording that I'm doing on my iPad. It just records and records and records. I could record up to 45 minutes using this voice recording and be able to bring this into Seesaw. But I think I'm done for today at almost 20 seconds, so that's good enough. All right, so why it says 1996 US, it automatically knows your location, and that's what it names the file. But of course, you could tap on that and rename it. All right. Now, I said you wanted to get that into your Files app. Now, this is the same on iPhone, so you could even just use your iPhone to record things. You don't have to have anything fancier than that. We're going to go up to the Sharrow. So that is, or some people call it the Squarrow because it's a square with an arrow. So I'm going to go up into that, and I'm going to make sure that I add that to my files right here. And I have it inside my voice memos folder and save. Because we needed to get it out of our voice memos app so that Seesaw could bring it in. All right. Simple as I open up Seesaw And remember, we can add a voice recording to anything. So I'm just going to change the background quick just to make sure the colors isn't easy to see. I'm going to grab in a thought bubble here. And this is how you do it. Now, this is the same on the web or on the iPad app here. I'm just demonstrating on iPad. Now that I've inserted an object, I can just simply tap on the three dots. And now I have the option of voice here. So I could record it just right inside of Seesaw. Remember, you're limited to 5 minutes. But I could also upload that audio. And where do I do that? It goes right into my Files folder. See, I'm on Files on my iPad. Oh, sorry, I was on my iCloud. And right here it says Sample Seesaw Recording. It shows at 1:09 today. That's when I did it, of course. And now that's linked. Now that's a sound file linked right to that image. You can put up to 20 sound files per page. Think about the power of that. So I have this on this one. I could bring in another shape and bring in something else, another shape. Let me do it one more time. And I'm just bringing in these shapes. I could bring in an image as well. So let's bring in that. So this is an image from my iPad. Same thing again, three dots, voice. And I could choose to record my voice or upload that audio again. And now I have that on there. Super duper powerful. That works the same way on the web. All right, so that's another way to add voice memos. Oops, got a little head there. You can add voice to your Seesaw using voice memos on iPad. Another way to do it, if you don't want to read it, is you can use something called from text to speech online. So if we go to that website, and the limitation is 50,000 character limit. All right. So I have my email open on another window, and I'm just going to copy some text in here. I could type it in, but I'm just going to copy some text in. And it looks like my computer is being dumb, so I'm going to go ahead and type it in. And it looks like I finally got some text coming up here. And I'm just going to get some more text just to have it. All right. So I've got my text in here. You could have up to 50,000 characters. A character is a space, a letter, a period, a comma, whatever. So it even keeps a character count for you. You can choose your voice, select a voice, and then the speed. And this would create an audio file that you can actually download as an MP3 and then use that in Seesaw as well. So if you didn't want to use your voice, you could use a computer voice as well. So what does that sound like? Well, here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and download it.
Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. Among materials, students can create works of art or practical.
There's our audio file, and I'm going to save that audio. And I'm going to upload that to Seesaw. Again, this is just another way. If you didn't want to use your voice and read it all in, you could just use a computer voice to do it. And we will just put that into downloads. Ooh, my computer is being really slow. I hope it keeps up during this session today. Holy cow. I apologize for this. It is grinding to a halt here. So again, I can do this inside of an activity, or I can do this just as a post by going into post student work. Same thing as I did on the iPad, looks exactly the same way. So I brought the shape in. Remember, it could be a picture, a shape, whatever. And now I can put that voice onto it. I could record it inside a Seesaw, but now I could upload that MP3 that I just made. And there it shows on there. Simple, 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 simple. I kind of went over it fast, but good thing you have the recording to watch again. What's one more way you could do it? Well, this is pretty neat. I found this program that you can install on a PC through the Windows Store that allows you to put, it says any text to voice to PC. So it's just this app that sits inside a PC and essentially does the same exact thing that this web version does, but it's an installed version that you can put on your PC. I like the web version because you can do that anywhere. You can do it on a Chromebook and you can do it on a PC or Mac and you don't have to install anything. But if you wanted to take text and paste it into this, it actually will turn it into an MP3 as well. So that is another option that is out there. If you have a PC, you can use that. So what else do we have to know about Seesaw here? Another new improvement for Seesaw is that you can lock the sizes of labels, images, and shapes while still allowing for the movement of them. This is very important because if you're doing a lot of drag drop activities or sorting activities, before when you maybe had some objects in there, kids would resize it, maybe make it too small, make it too big. This allows them to be able to drag and drop things around, but it doesn't change the size of it at all. So you can lock that size. What does that look like? Well, we're inside of Seesaw here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a new shape in. And I'm going to go ahead and put the square in. Remember, I can change the color of that square by just going to that color changer along the side if I want to. And now I'm going to make this bigger. Oh, let's have a prettier color than gray for right now, for goodness sakes. Oh, let's make it purple. All right. So I have this shape, and now I can go into the three dot, the More menu, and I can choose to lock it. All right. If I choose lock all, that means it won't move and it stays the same size. If I choose lock size, that means the student can still move it around, but they can't change how big or small it is. Okay, so if I lock size, and I would assign this, if I were assigning this activity out, they could not change the size of this, but yet they can still move it around. If I were choosing lock all, you get this. See, I can't change the size of it. I can't move it. I can't do anything. So this is really great for all those, like I said, dragging, dropping, sorting, all that kind of stuff that you can actually lock the size of that. If you're into keyboard shortcuts, you can use keyboard shortcuts for this. Command on a Mac, Alt on the PC for that, plus Shift plus M locks the size. Command or Alt plus Shift plus L locks everything. So if you're into keyboard shortcuts, that's there. If you're not into keyboard shortcuts, you can just go into that three dot More menu and be able to do that. Okay, I want to do a little bit more demonstrating before we go on because I want to show about the icon shortcut as well. I've already pre-started an activity and I'm going to go into editing it as well. Now we've talked about this before that you can insert icon shortcuts into your directions for your Seesaw activity. So I'm going to go ahead and go into that activity that I pre-started. And you can see that right here. Do you see that there's this little icon here? by using that PDF, and I've sent it out before and I'll send it out again after this gets done, you can actually insert this new voice command so that it shows for the student in the directions what they're going to look for on the activity. So how do you type that out? Let me make sure that I show you. I'm going to go ahead and edit the activity. We're going to have that activity name. And then here's where you're going to write the student instructions. And when I talk about the activity icon chart, let's just make sure we all have the same terminology, that we're on the same footing here, so you know what I'm talking about. So these are the icon shortcuts that you can be able to type out in your instructions so that it shows that visual instruction as well. Now, as of right now, the new one is not right here on the page. This is brand new, what I'm showing you here today. As in the last 5 days, it just got launched. So they have to kind of update some of their materials here. But if you're typing out the instructions for a student and you want this little icon to show, you're going to use this text shortcut. It always starts with a colon and ends with a colon. So for the voice one, it is colon, voice, colon. And that makes that little, looks like a speaker show up. If I were to type out colon, drawing, colon, we're going to get that little pencil, just so you can see what these look like here, okay? Ooh. Slow computer today. I must be tasking it with too much to do. So again, colon, word, colon. When you're typing out your instructions, you do not see that little picture show up. Trust me, it is there. My personal preference, when I'm making a Seesaw activity, I am going to write the word and put the icon there, because that is going to help both types of learners there. That we're going to get somebody that maybe can't understand the word drawing, but sees that pencil icon that they can do, and it's just going to reinforce. Remember, they don't see this on the other side. They're just going to see that icon there, okay? So we can attach that template for them to use. I could also read these instructions in. So you're seeing more and more the power of audio on this. Not only can you read the instructions for the activity, but then you can put audio recordings all the way throughout your activity as well. Well, what does that look like? Let's take a look at that. So on my activity here, I have just something simple in here. Okay, I just got my background. And I am going to enter a shape, and I'm going to say a heart. All right. Now, on this heart, I'm going to add an audio recording. I'm just going to record it right inside Seesaw because I want it to be really short. Hey students, I want you to pick your favorite color and draw a heart. And then inside of the heart, I want you to write the name of something that you love the most. It can be a person, a place, a thing, your favorite food, a pet, anything you want. Show me what you love. Notice it showed that I had 5 minutes left there. I can pause it. I could go back and I can play it. If I click on this, I can go back and play and hear what I said. Hey students, I want you to pick your favorite color and draw a heart. And then inside of the heart, I want you to write the name of something that you love the most. It can be a person, a place, a thing, your favorite food, a pet, anything you want. Show me what you love. So if I didn't like that, I could be able to do it over again. And remember, you can have up to 20 of those little voice recordings per page. And remember, you have up to a 20-page limit. That's a lot of voice that you can add in there. Super duper powerful, especially for these asynchronous activities where if they don't have, listening maybe to a whole set of instructions would maybe take too long. But by putting little bursts of instructions or reminders on several things throughout the activity, it makes it a lot easier. Now I see we're coming up almost on the end of this. I want to remind you that you want to make sure that you update your devices in order for this to be able to be used. If you're using Seesaw on the web, so if you are on Mac, PC, Chromebook with you or your students, the update is automatically there. But if you or your students are using an iPad or Android app, make sure that they get that updated. For Richland Center, their apps should automatically update, but we can make sure that that gets pushed out. I'll talk to Kenny when that gets done. For River Valley folks, I'm not sure how you do your updates. I'm sure that'll auto update as well, but check with your tech person along with that as well. Again, automatically updated on the web, but make sure that your student devices, if they are an iOS or an Android device, that they get updated as well. And with that, you can learn more about these updates and more using the web.seesaw.me training site. So when I want to make sure that you know that you will get a link to this slide deck showing everything. You will get a link to the recording, and I will also send out any other appropriate links that I talked about. Remember, we talked about the text to speech and all that kind of stuff. They are in the slide deck, but I will include them independently of the recording as well once this gets done. I'm going to go ahead and close off the recording right now, but I'm going to keep the Google Meet open. So if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to be able to type them in the chat if you want to, or go ahead and just unmute and be able to type and be able to ask. So with that, I'm closing out the recording. Thanks for joining us.